There are hopes and fears in Finnish Lapland as the frosty region's winter tourism season gets underway. The new Omicron Coronavirus variant is threatening to scupper the lucrative Christmas travel season. Tourism operators are still recovering from a disastrous 2020, which saw them lose tens of millions of euros due to the pandemic.
Early morning in snow-covered Finnish Lapland and at Santa Claus Village amusement park. Perched on the edge of the Arctic Circle, workers are putting finishing touches to this ice restaurant and hotel. The new Omicron Coronavirus variant, including travel restrictions, test requirements, and quarantine measures, is threatening to scupper the lucrative Christmas season. Rovaniemi, the capital of Finnish Lapland before the pandemic, attracted over 500,000 visitors every year, about 60% from abroad. Most tourists come from the UK, Spain, France, Ireland, Italy, and Singapore. Now, the Finnish Lapland tourism businesses are still finding their footing after almost 2 years of devastation wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic. And there now has been rattle because much countries throw up new barriers to travel for contain the Omicron variant.
It is a worry, of course, because no one knows what's going to happen, and we just need to keep up doing the good work and to inform all the travelers with the information that we are getting. But of course, there's always the worry that are we going to get cancellations, and is it going to be very restricted from our source countries?
According to Visit Rovaniemi, 61,000 people visited the city in December 2019, over 51,000 from overseas. But just over 11,000 came last December, an 82% drop, and only 1,100 from overseas. Just 1.4 billion euros was made in accommodation sales in December 2020, a 90% drop on the previous year. In this Christmas season brings in tens of millions of euros for local businesses. The local tourism industry typically makes about 260 million euros. 2020 saw them lose over 60% of that revenue. After surviving in 2020, Karkanen says for many businesses, this Christmas season is make or break.
Definitely this winter, this Christmas is a turning point for many of our tourism businesses. They could not suffer another year, another Christmas without customers, that's for sure.
As of July 2021, travelers can enter Finland if they have valid proof of full vaccination against COVID-19. Due to the Omicron variant, travelers who visited some African countries in the last 14 days can only enter if they have an essential reason for doing so.
We're very sure that we could pull off this trip, and then once we get back to France, and then maybe we thought all the new restrictions were coming into place, and now that it's almost the festive period, probably, you have the buffer that you could take a risk on going.
Now many hotels, restaurants, taxi lines and Lapland travel businesses has been less of tourists and related losses of economic because of the pandemic. Thomas Palmgren, co-owner of Rovaniemi Taxi Services Santa Line, says the coronavirus pandemic collapsed their business, forcing almost a year and a half of holiday.
Of course, it's a worry. You can't deny that. But this last year and a half, almost 2 years, has taught us that you can't trust anything. You have to just wait and see what happens. So it's quite stressful.
In central Rovaniemi, original Sokos Hotel Vakuna is fully booked, better than expected. But General Manager Esko Ristok says travel restrictions abroad could mean cancellation here.
I think the bigger question is from the feeder markets, do they let the people out and come back again? so that's a bigger thing. So if you're traveling from the UK, for example, and you have a risk on being 10 to 14 days in quarantine and cannot start your job again, I mean, of course you will think twice.
Opened in August 2020, returning tourists are a welcome for many, especially for Gustav Kitchen and Bar, while travel restrictions kept most diners away.
Most people thought we were completely crazy that we would even think about opening the restaurant in August. when the situation was at its worst, one could say, and we already knew back then that there will be no tourists whatsoever in this town, and we didn't have any tourists.
As of December 4, restaurants in Finland require to see a coronavirus passport from all guests aged 16 and over. But for now, as every new day dawns, Lapland's tourist businesses hold on to the hope